Hello,
There we are.
hello. It's Lisa Copeland. And we were not really late. We were just broadcasting into the wrong group. But as promised, I'm bringing to you interesting people over the next few weeks that are in businesses that are important to what's going on in the world today. We had Dr. Alina Shalar, who is a plastic surgeon, but she also owns clinics that are treating first responders. We had Lisa Richardson, who's a family law attorney, and that's because there's either going to be babies or divorces or something happening during all of this. We know that. I probably need to get a criminal attorney on here for those of you who want to kill our spouses that we're working with. And then, of course, I've got my very dear friend, Rhone McCall, entrepreneur extraordinaire, who is the luckiest chick I know because she buys businesses before things happen. And then, she's in the business to be in right now, which is COVID cleanup. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about what is going on in the world today. And Rhone, before we get into COVID cleanup and that kind of stuff, will you let everybody know what your background is? Because I think that's important to what you're doing today.
Sure. Thanks for having me. I wish we were having a virtual happy hour, but maybe we can do that later.
Yes, of course.
So, as you know, I spent the last 15 years of my career in the home health and home care industry, taking care of elderly folks. And that's what led me into Spalding Decon, which is a biohazard and crime scene and trauma scene cleanup business. Now, when I got into it, I didn't know that I was going to be doing COVID-19 disinfection services, but I was really getting into it because it seemed like the natural progression of the business I'd already come out of. We do a lot of unattended death cleanup. So folks that pass away in their homes and aren't found for a few days. I know it's bad. But unfortunately, being in the business I was in before, we didn't run into that often. We were fortunate, but it does happen. As well as hoarding cleanup. I've told you the stories of that and the crazy hoarding cleanup jobs.
Not only is she one of my favorite people on planet Earth and my very dear friend, but she's my drinking buddy. So usually when we're on about the second vodka soda, depending on which diet we're on that week, it's either Prosecco or vodka soda. Right. We get into the hoarding stories and we get into what her company cleans up, and you cannot make this stuff up. You cannot make it up.
That's true. I don't. Probably my next business should be a reality show or writing a book, a tell-all or something like that.
For sure.
Can't make this stuff up.
Cannot make it up.
But it honestly, while I didn't necessarily think of it when I bought Spalding Decon and got into the business, it is still a natural progression of providing a really needed service. As you know, the elderly population, as we've seen on the news, are the individuals that's certainly one of our most vulnerable populations in this whole pandemic. So obviously being in that business for 15 years, I definitely have a soft spot for taking care of and protecting those vulnerable individuals. And we're still doing that. We're getting phone calls from area assisted living facilities and skilled nursing facilities, not the hospitals. They do their own stuff. But other facilities
are privately owned. So they need you.
So or small, regional management companies. So we're getting calls, and while my businesses cover Central Texas, so Waco down through San Antonio, we do have statewide coverage. We've done we've got some proposals out there for like the Texas DMV reached out to us. Lots of City of Austin businesses. I think
municipalities are reaching out to you.
Yeah.
First responders are reaching out to you. Honestly, if y'all just knew Rhone like I knew Rhone, you just go, she's the luckiest woman in the world. And it's not like I'm trying to be like, oh, yay, a pandemic. But for you, oh, yay, a pandemic.
Well, right. And to that note, I know you've got, cajillion followers. We are also, I'm very passionate about, I want to reopen in a safe way, but I'm also, as you know, I want to keep the economy going and moving forward, as you and I have talked about. We are hiring. And again, I'm here in Austin, so we can, we're hiring folks from all over Central Texas, but there are nationwide locations. So if you go to the Spalding Decon website, there are especially the areas that are the hot spots, the East Coast and Florida. They are they can't keep up.
Because you're paying very well, like $15 to $20 an hour, depending on what your level of experience is, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's really a great paying job, and it and and I would imagine if somebody's good at what they do and you trust them, they could probably get as many hours as they want because you're so darn busy. What are you doing to protect them? Talk about the PPE and things like that. Because I mean, you have police and firefighters saying that they don't have what they need. So how are you?
That's a great question.
I think I'm good at that. No.
Yeah, you are good at this. That's a great question. The PPE, that's a term that nobody probably knew unless they were in the healthcare world before this whole thing happened.
Right.
We are fortunate that we do always have, when I say we always have, I've got enough for our technicians to go out, but we are going into some, a lot of situations where we do need to be protected. We're cleaning up fentanyl, meth, biohazard. So if folks, as I said, if they've died in their homes and decomposed, we go in and clean up all the decomposition and whatnot. So it's relevant that we are always protected. This is important because unlike, Joe's cleaning service or some carpet cleaning services that are advertising COVID-19 disinfection, we are protecting not only our customers because we are coming in full PPE. So Tyvek suits, full face respirators, gloves, the whole 9 yards, which we are accustomed to using anyway.
Right.
So that we come in and are
y'all
fully protected.
come in looking like Ghostbusters. And someone just asked on the feed, hi, Demetrius, he jumped in late. So Rhone McCall is on here, and she owns a Spalding Decon franchise here in Austin, Texas. She's a very dear friend of mine. And she is involved in the COVID cleanup, whether it's residential or it's for businesses to keep essential businesses moving forward, or even as we start to open our economy. Because, Rhone, you know what they say, so goes Texas, so goes the country. And our governor today has released phase 1 of reopening Texas, although I don't really see any difference except that there's retail to go. And that means we sit in front of Neiman Marcus and have them bring out our makeup. But Neiman Marcus filed bankruptcy today.
I saw that.
You see that?
I don't need any makeup because I haven't been putting it on. So I did today for you, Lisa, but
I put it on for you too. And I actually washed my hair. I mean, like
I did too.
We're moving forward here in life. Yeah. So anyways, so what we're talking about is COVID cleanup. Thanks, Demetrius, for that. We jumped on a little bit early, but actually a little bit late because we were broadcasting into the wrong groups. But go ahead and share this out because this is going to be critical to get our country and our local businesses. Restaurants, Rhone, my God, we didn't even talk about restaurants. But Rhone's business and her services are going to be critical to get the doors back open to our businesses and keep our essential businesses moving forward without people getting sick. Because what's going to happen is that if people start getting sick or the numbers start rising, I've got a feeling the governor's going to come back in and close it back down again, right?
Yeah. And we've got a couple of differentiating factors, Lisa, that are relevant. I think number one, obviously, is training and equipment and the products that we're using. So we're not just coming in to, wipe off with a paper towel and bleach.
Right.
We use one of the only EPA certified products. It's a hospital grade chemical. It's safe to humans, so it's not going to kill you once we put it on anything.
Okay.
But it is something that we use to kill other viruses and viral disinfection services that we offer. As I said and spoke to earlier, all of our techs are trained in full PPE when they come in. We follow all the OSHA guidelines in terms of a clean setup area, so we're accustomed to doing that. Also, we do a 2-step process, so we're using a fogger to come in and disseminate those chemicals all over an office, for example, and then the chemical kills the virus after a 90-second dwell time. So if it's sitting on a keyboard or a phone or whatnot for 90 seconds, it has killed the virus. And then we come back after that and wipe down all points of contact. So phones, keyboards, light switches, doorknobs, toilet handles, all the things that people have touched likely. And we come back and wipe with the same chemical. After that process is done, we can provide a certificate of disinfection that businesses can put, can display to show that it has been professionally cleaned and professionally done to give their customers and employees, peace of mind. And obviously, the disinfection is only as good as the next time it's recontaminated. So depending on if you've got people in there every day ongoing, you're going to want to do it more frequently. If you don't, then certainly, as things start to open back up and go back to.
Yeah. And I mean, I think, Rhone, this is going to be our new normal. And for those of you just tuning in, and we've got a lot of people tuning in right now, Rhone's hiring. Now, she's in Central Texas, but, depending on your level of expertise and probably your work ethic, she's paying out from $15 to $20 an hour. to get out there with fully protection, the PPE, all of that. And, it could end up being a really good career for somebody because of, number one, the pay. And then number two, just knowing that, you're helping get business in America, especially Texas, right?
Right.
Rhone and I can speak to Texas, back open. And I think that that's critical. So and phones just ringing off the walls. They have to be just ringing off the walls.
It's been crazy. And I'll tell you, and the rest of our business isn't stopping either. As a matter of fact,
people are still dying. People are still hoarding. People are still, so those of you just tuning in, I see some more people tuning in. Rhone's business does not only just do COVID cleanup. We have had more happy hours sitting in bars with her telling me stories where I am literally, y'all, I've got tears coming. I'm laughing so hard about which you shouldn't laugh about dead people. I get it. Like that's so irreverent of me.
We're not laughing about that. It's the hoarding.
The hoarding is just like they make TV shows about that. And Rhone lives it. Yeah. Rhone doesn't. Let's be real. Rhone's people do. No. Rhone's the boss. She is El Jefe. She is not. Although I have talked to you, and you've actually been going over to a crime scene or over to a hoarder scene. And I'm like,
And I'll tell you. I mean, you don't think about the extent or how this impacts, but we, as a matter of fact, I was at a job site today with my project manager, and we had a elderly gentleman, passed away in his home alone, and we were cleaning that up. And I mean, this whole thing has caused such a crisis and impact on everybody, and we're looking from hiring people to everything to try to help wherever we can. But the pantry was full of food, canned goods and boxes of rice and pasta and all the non-perishables. And, we asked the gentleman's son if we could take it and donate it to the food bank, because you've seen the lines and the pictures. So, we even in hoarding situations, we did a big job last week, and we're taking paper goods and, trash bags and all the stuff that's in short supply and people can't, buy with this huge unemployment situation that we're in. And we're trying to, donate where we can and put people back to work.
I was going to say, I mean, everything you're doing, I think it's so great. For those of you tuning in, my good friend Rhone McCall, she not only she has crime scene cleanup, she has COVID cleanup at a very high level and is certified to do it. She's hiring like 15 to 20 bucks an hour if you're looking for a job and you want to work. Because let me tell you, people, that unemployment's going to run out at some point, and Congress is going to pull back that extra $600. And plus, you just want to be part of the solution. You want to reach out anywhere around the country. Her whole company's hiring. So you're employing people, you're repurposing stuff that anybody else, family members probably would have thrown away. You're helping open businesses and keep businesses open. Like, do you just go to bed at night thinking you're just all that in a bag of chips?
No, come on. No.
I love sharing with her because she's my friend, so I get to do that.
That's right. No.
Tonight we'd be drinking.
That's true. We got a couple hours left.
We are really fun. Rhone and I are good together.
That's true. Yeah, we are funny. Yeah. The other thing, we talked about this in the last broadcast. I think you asked how often people should do it, or why should people hire us to do it. And, I think the protection, not only as we start to open back up for customers of businesses, but also their employees. We don't want to we want to keep this thing contained, and we want to do as much as we possibly can to be proactive. So, like you said, in Williamson County, you're not required to wear masks. In Travis County, we are. So doing those extra steps until we get a handle on it, and we know, if you're immune to it, if you've had it. I think I had it back in January, to be honest with you. I'm never sick.
We're convinced.
Yeah, and I was near death, so I think I had it, and I've been in Vegas and New York, so probably had it.
We were in Vegas. I was speaking for Miracle Air, and it was Chinese New Year. 3 days later, my husband comes home and he's like, and he's deaf. I mean, deaf.
Yeah.
Like, I think I've got COVID. Remember, I called you. I'm like, oh God, he thinks he has COVID. Yeah, right.
Right.
But he had COVID. I feel bad.
Yeah. But anyway, until we get our arms around it and really have all the answers and know how we're going to stop it and contain it, and keep the most vulnerable populations safe from it, it's not going away. And the cleanup and the disinfection is just really critical for essential businesses, and as well as businesses that start to reopen, whether they're government.
Like the shopping malls, I think I told you last week, I want to invest in your business because I don't want to do any of the work. I don't want to see any of it. I just want to write you a check. I just want to be an owner. Yeah. Oh boy. Ugh. But that being said, I mean, I think about all these stores and restaurants that are going to open, like they need your company to come in and just like, because it's going to be a long time before I ever sit in a movie theater again. I won't lie. Take a subway. Yeah. I'm not even wild about an airplane, and the whole world's like, oh, but they're the cleanest place in the world to be. Well, they may be clean, but what about the person sitting next to you? You just don't know. So I think all of us are going to kind of step back into this at where we're comfortable. But it would sure be nice if I walked into a car dealership, car dealers that are watching this, and I know you are, yeah. Or I walked back into a restaurant or whatever, and there's like a certificate on the door saying we use this company, and every single night we're wiping this stuff down. And, and during the day or whatever, I told you I was in HEB yesterday, I was shopping, which is a grocery store in our area. So my county, it's masks are not mandatory, but they're suggested. In Rhone's county, we live right next to each other, they're mandatory. So about 90% of the people in the grocery store had masks, the 10% didn't. And the 90% of us were mad. I'm like, seriously, if we all have to wear this, you should have to wear it too. And if you're so arrogant not to wear it, you need to get out. Yeah. Like, I think that's how we're all kind of feeling. It's like, we're either going to play by the rules or we're not. So those of us that play by the rules, we want everybody else to too. But, I didn't even think of the fact about until you and I started talking, and I really want to write you a check and invest in your company. Bad. You know that. But that being said, I mean, your business is going to go on and on and on and on and on, right? Yeah. And you have a background, for those of you just tuning in. Rhone's got a background in healthcare. She owned a home healthcare company. And so she knows all about the vulnerable, because you worked a lot with nursing homes and, taking care of elderly. And so, you know enough, like, you're kind of the resident. When we have something going on, we all call Rhone.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And, I mean, again, I kind of did this as a public service announcement in our last broadcast, Lisa, but I do want to say, again, those folks that are, if you have family members that are in assisted living and skilled nursing facilities and whatnot, and those senior communities, they're in total lockdown, and they have been for probably 2 to 3 weeks before every other place went into lockdown for their protection and their safety. We are seeing cases. I mean, we saw the story, everybody saw the story in New Jersey where there were 17 dead bodies and all that. Oh. That is not the norm. I mean, most places and most facilities are really taking care to keep their residents and their seniors safe. But if you have those relatives and have those loved ones, or, had an old neighbor that moved away, give them a call, send them a text, because they are so isolated right now, because they are literally, I mean, when we talk about essential, they are only letting healthcare providers into those communities. No family members. I'm sure we've all heard the stories of somebody passing away and the loved ones, can't even say goodbye. So it's tough. I mean, all kidding aside, I mean, we're busy and we want to keep things safe, but
a week before the lockdown happened, my mom had to be in assisted living because she broke her ankle. And so she had to kind of transition to get strong to go back home. And literally, it was like 5 days before. And she was at a great place here in Round Rock, and it was wonderful and clean and nice and whatever. And we literally got her sprung 5 days before. Otherwise, I mean, and she made a lot of friends up there, and she's spoken to a lot of them, and they're not allowed to leave their rooms. They're not allowed to go to community dining, and they're very social. I mean, they're not in a nursing home. They are in a active community that just needs a little bit of extra help. And so imagine just being shut in a 600 square foot closet, AKA apartment, and having your food brought. It's just, it's terrible.
Yeah. So that's just my heart for the elderly. Go, don't forget to call your Aunt Betty or whatever to tell you love her. I mean,
So are you guys selling any kind of kits that people could buy from you to send out? That was kind of an idea I had for you. Could anybody on the stream, buy a disinfectant kit, or you just really want to do it yourselves?
Yeah, not really. I mean, we've got everything we've got's commercial grade, but
especially and probably PPE to put it on and all that stuff.
Yeah. And, and we're not, just for the record, because a friend of mine that's a nurse said, don't be wearing your N95 mask out to HEB because that's not fair to the healthcare workers. We are repurposing and reusing as much as we can. But most of when the techs are going on the job, they're wearing like you said earlier, the Ghostbusters respirator that's a full face. The normal public wouldn't wear that. And they're not even wearing that in hospitals either, by the way, but we're, fogging with chemicals that we can't inhale and all that stuff. So I'm not hoarding any PPE, just for the For the,
Yeah.
for the record.
No, but you're right. I mean, you guys are. I mean, you are.
Yeah,
You're
no, we're not.
houses and making them where they're inhabitable again for people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What is the website that people can find you at? I'm going to type it into the comments.
Okay, cool. It is Spalding, SPAULDING, just like the tennis ball, Spalding, DECON.com.
And will they find you on this website?
I think if you put in my zip code, you will. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I can give you our local phone number if you want.
Yeah. And then I'm going to put here, reach Rhone. So if you're a car dealer, if you're a restaurant, if you're a beauty salon, if you are Williamson County, if you are Travis County, if you are the city of Austin, if you want to open your business again, or you want to certify your business to be a safe place, call Rhone. Okay. What's your phone number?
512
Okay.
643 1771. I'll tell you too, Lisa, I've gotten calls and, I know you reached out to me about it. But I've gotten calls from real estate agents, people that are selling homes that they want to disinfect before new people move in. I had a lady that recently, she is immunocompromised, so young, but doesn't want to, doesn't know who was in there before, or so just wants it, fogged down and cleaned up. So that we're doing that too, just as prevention and to get things, make sure everything is like it should be. Daycares.
So a lot of daycares. There you go, daycares. There's another one out there, and again, a lot of people will catch this on the replay. If you're a restaurant, a daycare, a beauty salon, a spa, a car dealership, city municipalities, you have contracts with all these people just to open up again. Right. I mean, to me, that's going to be the new competitive advantage, is how clean your place is compared to how much your services are. I mean, I just see that being part of the budget now, having a company like yours come in and do that, just like I would have ABC Pest Control come out and spray for bugs. I'd rather spend that money and spray for cooties, COVID cooties,
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
So that's awesome. All right, everybody. And last but not least, Rhone, I'm going to put this up there. Rhone is hiring. So if you got laid off and you want to make some money, 15 to 20 bucks an hour. I don't think it's super hard work. I think it's just, you probably be pretty detailed and
depends on the job. We get a lot, actually, I hire a lot of military veterans because they've been exposed to, bad situations, as well as they've had training in biohazard and, anthrax and things like that. We get a lot of off-duty firemen, EMS folks that want to just have a side hustle. And again, they're not, just turned away by blood and guts.
So let me ask you. So you would hire full-time and part-time?
Correct. Yeah.
All right. I'm putting all of this in the comments, people, because, hey, we're trying to help people get back to work also, because we just tell everybody out there, this unemployment thing, the money, it's going to run out. They're not going to, I know people right now that can't get it. I know there's an extra $600 a week put on it. People aren't getting that yet. They may never get it. So the goal is to go back to work. For those of you who don't have work, maybe some of you need to subsidize your income. Maybe your job's been cut or your hours have been cut and you do something like this part-time. I think this is one of those things, I think either you love it or you don't.
That's true. Yeah. And, people are fascinated with, as we're joking, but, some of it is really interesting and fascinated.
Yeah.
But, it's a needed service. A lot of times we are, helping families that live out of state, and they might've had a, loved one pass away, and especially now you can't get here. And, folks that are isolated and live alone. That's still, all that stuff, unfortunately, is still happening. But I've gone in and I've helped families coordinate estate sales. I've got a great network of real estate folks that we can help them move their house. So I really try to do all the services.
Austin call you. You've got anyway, so everybody needs to do it. So I told Rhone I wanted to get her on here, and I just, again, I'm all about how I can support local businesses, how I can support my friends, how I can bring you guys and gals information that, everybody out there is an expert. Jew is I have more friends that have become economists, poli-sci majors, constitutional advisors, you name it. So versus me trying to, give you my opinion, I like to bring in the experts. I've had Dr. Alina Shalar on, I've had Lisa Richardson, a family law attorney. I've brought Rhone in. I'm going to have Chad Shields coming tomorrow, and he owns a travel agency here in Austin, and we're going to talk about like what the heck's going to happen with travel. I mean, when's it safe to travel? Because there's some smoking deals out there right now on trips. And Rhone, you like to travel, so you should take that.
Yeah, I do.
Again, but again, just bringing everybody information from experts, from known experts, versus me just giving you my opinion, because I do think I'm an expert on everything. I'm kidding, but sometimes I do.
You're not. You're not.
But I'm not.
Hey, I told you my other business idea. I was going to have a bracelet made that says WWLCD. What would Lisa Copeland do? So, you're my trusted advisor. And by the way, we are a woman-owned business, so I know you support that too. And I have lots of techs actually who are on just pre-COVID. I have lots of women that like to do the hoarding stuff. People are fascinated and cleaning stuff out. So
I just have to ask you, what happens to the crap in the house that you guys get rid of, the hoarding stuff?
It totally depends. A lot of it is trash. So we have,
like pizza boxes and
a lot of it is garbage. Depends on the family too. Sometimes they want to go through it. Depends on the situation. I've boxed up an entire house of documents and shipped those to Ohio when the brother passed away, and they, we donate a lot, a ton of stuff we donate.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, we've helped families. I had one gentleman that was a gun hoarder he was Vietnam vet, and he had hundreds of guns. I think I sent you the pictures of that.
Funny.
And so I helped connect her with a gun dealer to, so I try to connect people with resources. But generally it's either trash or donation. I've got, so like I told you earlier, we're helping donate food to the food pantries, and we try to donate and recycle what we can. So
I think that's
filling up the landfills.
So what is, and I like to ask all my guests this, what is the one takeaway that you've learned from the pandemic? How are you going to be different after we come out of the fog? What have you learned?
Gosh.
What have you learned about yourself? What have you learned about your business?
I could joke and say I don't think I'm gonna live without fake eyelashes, but no.
Glue them on like strips. That's what I did.
Honestly, I have to say, from a personal standpoint, I think, and the mom of two teenagers, really having that forced time together has been a gift. So that's certainly one thing, and getting back to the basics of, hanging out and watching TV together and being in close quarters together. That's certainly been something that I hope will continue on, although they're ready to run out the door and probably never see me again. But, that's certainly relevant. And I was always a hand washer being in the healthcare business, but I'm even more of one now. So certainly that's relevant. And, not taking anything for granted. I mean, I'm grateful to everybody that is out there working and the healthcare workers. And I think just, And, it's going to be tough for a while. So I think for me, helping to keep as much as we can, and just, helping in your corner as much as you can, is certainly what my personal takeaway. And for our business too, we're going to get calls from people that can't afford for us to clean up. And while I'm here saying all the good byproducts we do, it's not a nonprofit, it's a business. But there's folks that, are going to have bad situations that we're going to have to help where we can. And we do that, but,
Rhone, you're one of the most generous people I know. So I'm not saying anybody on their call, Rhone, because whatever.
No.
One of the most generous people I know, and very committed to women in business and entrepreneurs, because you are a serial entrepreneur. You're a lot like me.
Yeah.
People are like, well, what? I'm like, I will get into a business, and I've owned many companies. I will get into a business if it makes sense. Yep. And then then you get out when it doesn't make sense anymore, or like I like to say, or if you have a buyer, right? Yeah. And and so that's where you and I are so equally aligned in the fact that we are truly serial entrepreneurs who look for opportunities. But when you when did you buy this? About a year ago?
Almost two.
Yeah. I still remember when you were thinking about it. Remember the Arboretum? Yeah. Texting people that I know that are very high up and powerful. Yeah. Say, hey, would you hire this person if she bought this company? There could have been some cocktails involved in that one too. Oh, Lord have mercy.
Probably,
but anyway,
probably.
that being said, I remember all the initial conversations with you, and I just remember going, you have lost your mind. I cannot believe you're doing this. And you're like, no, it's needed. Now, again, this was nothing to do with COVID, but this was about crime scene cleanup and just, like you're always a little bit ahead of your time. I've always thought that.
I hope so. But,
it's unbelievable.
I wish that this was not the case. I mean, I certainly,
you're a hell of a business just with crime scene cleanup. COVID didn't even need to hit. I mean, you were so busy cleaning up hoarders.
Yeah, there's a lot of mess to clean up. And unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be any different for a little while. So I'm happy to provide the service and do, provide a living wage to folks where we can. And
Rhone is hiring. If you're just jumping on, we're going to get ready to wrap up. But Rhone's hiring $15 to $20 an hour, full-time or part-time. Great side hustle if you're a firefighter, a police officer, an HEB worker, somebody who just got your hours cut, or if you've been furloughed.
Car salesman?
Yeah. I mean, hey, they're used to cleaning up dead bodies all the time. Whatever it may be, because, so many of you I know have just been so devastated financially by this. So this is, companies like Rhone's, not only is she helping put America back to work, helping businesses get reopened, she's hiring. But and there's a lot of companies that are hiring. And so, people have asked me, like, where do you see yourself coming out on the other side of this? And I said, and I posted something the other day, and I mean it. I think I'm going to write my next book on it. And it's about pivot, don't panic. Because I think that there's always a pivot in anything we do. I mean, I think that's just a part of evolution, the evolution of business, and learning to pivot without panicking. And so many of you who are watching this, who might catch this on a replay, or if you all have shared it out, that would be great. Think about what your pivot is versus sitting home panicking and thinking about the worst case scenario, because there's a lot of worst case scenarios out there. I get it. I've done a lot of pivots. I'm going to be doing some big announcements on some pivots that we've done. And you know what? Pivoting's good. It's good. It's just, it's part of evolution. But many of us were forced into this pivot. And so it's, what will you do with the dash? And I call it the COVID dash. From the day we found out we were on lockdown, or your job might have changed, or you might have been furloughed, or your hours might have been cut, or your job might have just been eliminated altogether, to where you're going to come out of the other side of this. What is that pivot between your dash going to be? And I want to challenge everybody with that. And, Rhone's in a great business.
Hey, Lisa, I'll say too, people that are interested in and have the background and do have, are looking for that. Hey, what am I going to do next?
Military too.
Reach out. You've got my contact info. Reach out to me too, because I can talk to you about if they don't have a location in a certain market, that might be an option for folks too, because they're looking to open new locations, and now is the time.
Now's the time. See? Opportunities, buy a business, get into a new business, pivot what you're doing, take on a side hustle. Whatever it is, we are committed to help people get back to work and get their lives back to normal. And Rhone's doing both. She's putting people back to work, and she's making it where we can go back into these businesses and feel safe and feel good as we can be, until the person next to us sneezes on us or something creepy like that. Then, that's nothing you can control. But I at least feel like I could touch the counter and not walk away, with COVID. So, Rhone, thank you as always. You're amazing. Everybody in the comments, I've got Rhone's contact information. I've got her website. If you are in Central Texas and you're a restaurant, you're a car dealer, you're a salon, you're a spa, you're a retail shop, you're a school. Schools? Good God. See, this is why I need to be your partner, because I could go out there and I'd make all this happen, right?
Come on.
Yeah, but so whatever we need, whatever, you want to get it going, again, call Rhone. There's franchise opportunities in different parts of the country. We get people from all over the country. Talk about it. Great timing to get into a business, and it's not crazy expensive to get into. I mean, you have to have some money, but that's what SBA is for those of you who may not have the funds put up. It's time to pivot for so many of you. If there's nothing else I can say to all my friends out there and the people that follow me, pivot, don't panic. Pivot, don't panic. There's opportunities out there, and I'm going to continue to bring them to you. Tomorrow, I'm going to have on Chad Shields. We're going to talk about the travel industry. He's a good friend of mine who's had to pivot a little bit until travel gets back on track, but it will. I mean, because we're going to be sick of these four walls. We're going to be sick of, driving. We're going to want to travel again. So again, just trying to bring everybody out there ideas and hope, and and just not talk about the same old stuff everybody else is talking about, right? All these armchair quarterbacks that I call friends. Oh, Lord. All right, my friend. Love you.
Thanks. Love you too.
Right,
Thanks. Thanks, everybody. Stay safe.
Chad Shields.
Chad, stay safe.
Okay. Bye.